Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of makeup decluttering. If you saw my video on Tuesday, then you will know that I am headed to Generation Beauty New York this weekend. Really excited. I think I should actually theoretically be heading into the city tonight when you are seeing this video, and then I will be headed off to Creator Day on Friday, which will be super fun. Hopefully get to hang out with some of my YouTube friends in real life, and then on Saturday and Sunday I will be attending the actual event with two of my friends. Gonna get into some makeup goodness. I love to network with my favorite brands, get to know the teams behind them, as well as to hopefully maybe meet some of you guys. So definitely let me know in the comments if you are also going to Generation Beauty New York. I would love to see you there if I can. But yeah, I basically decided I needed to prepare my stash at home for the incoming influx of goodies. Every time I've gone to Generation Beauty in the past, which I think this is going to be my 4th or 5th time going, I always end up with like bags and bags of new makeup and skincare. So I figured this would be a perfect time to do a little bit of decluttering, make a little room in my stash. On Tuesday, I did an empties video showing you guys some of the products I've used up recently, and today we're gonna go through the rest of my makeup and get rid of some stuff I don't need to hold on to. For those of you who are new here to my channel, if you haven't already subscribed, I hope you will click that button before you go. That way my lovely face will show up in your subscription feed. I also do plan on filming, I think, like a haul video after Gen Beauty to show you some of the stuff that I took home. So hopefully that video will be up for you on Tuesday. So if you're not subscribed, you're not gonna see it, so make sure you do that and you don't miss out. But with all of that being said, let's get into the declutter. So I'm just gonna be kind of holding up and showing you guys the products that I'm going to be passing along or getting rid of. I usually do like a big makeup collection series at the beginning of every year. So if you want to see me like swatch play with like my entire makeup collection, that will be coming to you at the beginning of 2019, or you can go back and watch the series that I did this year back in like January or February. I will link that playlist for you guys in the description box of this video. But today, for the sake of keeping things a little more concise, we're just gonna hold stuff up and I'm gonna show you what I'm getting rid of. So let's start with complexion products. Now this was actually really hard for me to do because I actually like all of these foundations, but if I'm being realistic with myself, I don't think I get as much use out of them as I could or should, so I think I'm better off just passing them along to somebody else. The first is the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. Now, I really like this formula. I think this is really beautiful for like everyday kind of wear. I think my issue with this is that it has chemical sunscreen in it, so it tends to make my skin look a little bit greasy after only maybe like 3 or 4 hours of wear. I just don't think that the formula and my skin get along super well. So while I like the way that this looks when I first apply it, I don't love the way that it looks by the end of the day. I think if you weren't sensitive to that sunscreen ingredient, and or if you had more normal skin or even normal to dry skin, the finish on this is very satiny. It looks just like skin. It's really nice. So while I would love to hang on to this, I just feel like I have a lot of other foundations that I know that I like and work better for me, so I'm probably better off passing this along to somebody else. The same thing goes for this guy. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Perfector Blurring Skin Tint. I got sent this from Influencer, I think back in the springtime, and while I love the way that this looks on the skin, especially when you first apply it, it has chemical sunscreens again, which I think just tend to break me out and make me really oily. They just don't sit quite as well on my skin as physical sunscreens do. So this is one of those products that like I used and I tested it out and I liked it and I could see it looking really nice on other people. I just know that over the long haul, like using this repeatedly isn't great for my skin because those ingredients just don't jive well with me for whatever reason. So I think I'm better off passing this along to somebody else that could get some use out of it because it is a really nice product. And then finally, I'm gonna declutter my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in the shade Golden Beige. This is too dark for me. Really, I think the reason I don't get as much use out of this is that the shade isn't quite right. I got this because well, first I thought it was the right shade, and then I kind of held on to it because I could mix it in with some of my lighter foundations to kind of deepen them up. But I've been much better since I got this about purchasing foundations that match my skin, so I haven't really needed something to darken my foundations for a while, and now we're going into winter, which means it's gonna be a whole nother like 6 months before I'm gonna have to worry about having a tan again, and then who knows how old this will be. So I think at this point, I probably should just get rid of this. I don't know, I may or may not pass it along to somebody else. I don't even know if I have somebody that would match this right now that I could think of to give it to, and it's also starting to get a little bit old. I mean, this is like a $6 foundation. It's super affordable. I hate wasting product. I hate throwing things away if they're not expired and somebody else could use them. I just think this is probably getting to the end of its shelf life, so I might just need to throw it away. Then I have these guys. This is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and this is the Physicians Formula Spotlight Illuminating Primer. Now, Jessica Braun has done videos on these products before and said how much they are basically like dupes for one another. The Spotlight primer from Physicians Formula is like less than half the price of the Becca one, which is pretty amazing. And I picked this up, well, first of all, I got this in like a set of Becca products. I did not buy it on its own because with my skin being so oily, I probably never would have gone out of my way to purchase the Backlight Priming Filter. It's a more illuminating kind of primer. But then I was just kind of generally curious about the Spotlight one, and I was picking up a big haul of drugstore products and got this essentially for free. So I was like, whatever, I'll just try it. And really what it comes down to is I think these are pretty. They're just not great for someone who has ridiculously oily skin like me because I don't need more shine, I need shine control, and these just make me look like a greasy hot mess after like 3-4 hours of wear. So I can think of numerous people that this would probably be beautiful on. I have a lot of friends with dry skin that I think would really appreciate these kinds of primers. So I would much rather give these to them than have them sit and collect dust in my drawer somewhere. I feel like I've picked up a lot of concealers recently. I got the new Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I got some concealer from Wander Beauty. So I realized like I kind of needed to look through my stash and get rid of whatever I wasn't using. The first thing that I immediately thought of was this guy. This is the original Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer. I got this from Gen Beauty like a long time ago. This says 2016 copyright on the back, so this is definitely more than a year old. It needs to go. I just need to chuck it because it's ancient, and I much prefer the new multi-use sculpting concealer formula over this original one anyway, so goodbye. Then there's this guy from Catrice. Obviously you can see that like I used a fair amount of this up. This is the Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. This is pretty good stuff. It's just this shade, it's Light Natural, shade 005. It's really light on me, and at the time there were only like 3 shades of this available, but I do think Catrice is expanding the shade range, which should be excellent. So when I'm at Gen Beauty, I know Catrice, I think might be one of the brands that's gonna be there. I don't remember, to be honest, but if they are, maybe I'll be able to pick up one in a better shade for me. I just think, I don't even know how old this is at this point. It says it's got a 6-month shelf life. I feel like I probably had this for more than 6 months, so I probably should just get rid of it as opposed to giving it to somebody else. And then this guy I kind of had the opposite problem with. This is the Kokie Be Bright Illuminating Concealer, and I felt like this was a little too dark and a little too peachy. I didn't think it was brightening enough on my under eyes, so I used it a little bit. I like tested the formula out. I thought it was fine, but it wasn't my favorite concealer by far, so I don't think I will be picking up another one of these, and I'm pretty positive I got this at Generation Beauty last year, and the little thing on the back says it lasts about 12 months, so pretty sure it's been a year since I picked this up and started using it, so I think it's about time for us to say goodbye. Now this next product is actually one of the things I set the goal to pan by the end of 2018. If you guys have been watching my videos since the beginning of the year, you may remember that I started a 2018 Project Pan Challenge. I picked 18 products to try to pan by the end of this year, and this was one of them. It's the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in the shade Baked. This is just a little travel size, but I swear this has taken me 1,000 years to finish. There's so much product in this little stick. I have no idea how someone could get through the full size before it expired because it's so much bigger than this. It makes no sense. But I honestly actually preferred this guy because it's like the perfect size to contour with. The big stick is so bulky, I feel like it'd be a little awkward to use directly on your face. But like I technically have like a 1/4 of an inch-ish or an 1/8 of an inch maybe left in this little stick. There's like a tiny bit of product left, but I definitely think it's off. It's just not as creamy as it used to be. It's kind of dried out and I kind of feel like, why should I keep putting this on my face if it's expired? Like it's not worth it just for the sake of a Project Pan challenge. So we're gonna say this has officially been used up. I mean, I definitely got a lot of use out of this product and enjoyed it quite a bit when I had it. Again, I don't think that I would go out of my way to buy the full size of this because I just don't think that I would use it up quickly enough, like before it went bad, and it's kind of expensive. If I could get another mini version, I'd be all about that. But in the meantime, I picked up the Benefit Hula Quickie Contour Stick, which I think serves essentially this same purpose. It's a nice color, and I think this stick is really easy to use. It's much slimmer than the Milk Makeup one, so that's what I'm gonna be using for now. This guy though is ready for the trash. So I had like a bag of Motives Cosmetics products sitting in my closet that I hadn't gone through in a while. I'd kind of almost forgotten about it. And I decided I should like look through there and decide like what I actually wanted to keep and put into my regular stash and what I could get rid of. I'm not like a super huge fan of their products. There were a few things I like. I really like their eye base, but a lot of things I have just been like not super impressed by. So I am going to be decluttering this lipstick here. This is in the shade Secret. This came in like a kit, like a starter kit, so I didn't really like pick out these products individually, which is also probably part of the reason why I don't love them as much. I just never reached for this shade of lipstick. It's like a frosty pink that I feel like is a little too 80s for me. Maybe for like Halloween for an 80s themed party or something like that, this would be good, but for everyday wear, not really gonna get any use out of this. Same thing goes for this gloss. This just has a lot of really chunky glitter in it. I actually don't mind the gloss texture, and I like the fact that it has the like brush tip applicator. It's pretty nice. This is just the like rainbow chunky glitter is something I know I'm never going to use, so I'm just gonna pass this guy along. I have this pressed blush in the shade Naughty. This is actually pretty. It's got a nice kind of sheen to it. It's a nice pink color. I didn't dislike this product. I just have a million blushes and I know I am probably never going to reach for this, so I'd much rather pass it along to a friend. And then I've got two of their eyeliners here. The one is like one of their pencil liners in the shade Onyx. I did not like this guy at all. I felt like this was really waxy. Like it's not that black, and do you see like it's kind of chunky, and it's not, the formula is not very good. Maybe you need to really like warm it up before you apply it. I just found it really tugged on my eyes and it wasn't black enough, so was not impressed with this. And then this guy is their like gel pot eyeliner. It's called Little Black Dress. And I had heard really great things about this, but when I got it, I'm fairly certain it was mostly dried out. It was like very crumbly, and looking at it now, it's like completely pulled away from the sides of the jar, which makes me think that it was old and sitting in the warehouse before they sent it to me for a long time. So that's really kind of disappointing because this is not cheap. It retails for like $20, and honestly, the L'Oreal like Infallible Lacquer Liner is 1,000 times better than this, and it's only like 10 bucks. So kind of disappointed in this. Maybe I just got a bad one, and maybe one that was fresh would be a lot better, but I'm not really going to repurchase and try to find out. And then the last Motives product that I'm going to be decluttering is their With Love Element Color Box. This is an eyeshadow palette, and actually this is not a bad product. Let me just take the brush out so I don't drop it. It's an 8-pan palette, and it has matte and sort of shimmery satin shades in it. It actually is really great for doing a smoky eye. I just never reached for it because I have all of these colors in other palettes, and I like those palettes better. I mean, the construction of this palette is decent. You get like a huge mirror in here. The plastic is pretty hefty and nice, so I don't think that it's bad. I just think that I probably have a friend in my life that will get a lot more use out of this than I am. So moving right along, I'm going to be decluttering this guy. This is the Essence My Must Haves palette. I think I got this at BeautyCon back in April, and I honestly have not touched these at all. I just put the pans into the little palette. Basically, Essence has these little customizable palettes, and you can buy the individual products and pick what you want. This one has a blush, a setting powder, and 2 eyeshadows in it. I just wasn't really that interested in trying this, so I kind of like put it aside, and I didn't want to swatch it or use it if I could give it to somebody new. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see if I have a friend or family member that wants this guy, because I didn't hear great things about this. Emily Noel reviewed it, and she said she didn't think that it was worth the money, and I don't think I care to review it, so I'd rather not like taint it with my germs, you know. Now, I recently did a video testing and trying out Wander Beauty products, and I really enjoyed quite a bit from what they sent over to me, but I am going to be passing along a couple products, and not because I don't like them. There's one particular friend I have in mind that I think will love these products, and I don't need to keep them all. I think she will get so much more use out of them than I will, so I'm trying to be a good friend, okay? The first thing is this Wander Beauty On The Glow blush. I actually already own one of these, so I don't need to keep them both. I'm gonna pass on this one, which is the soft pink and nude glow. This has this really pretty bright pink blush, which is really, really gorgeous, and it shears out nicely on the cheeks. It's not too harsh, and then there's like a highlighter on the other side. This is just a really easy, fresh, youthful looking product, and I think for someone that appreciates more of that no makeup look, could be an everyday staple, so I'm gonna pass along one of these. And then the other product I'm going to be passing along is the Wanderess Fever palette. This is really pretty. It is a combination of eyeshadows, blush, and highlight. This highlight especially was so stunning. But I just know, again, I have pretty much all of these neutral shades in other palettes, so I don't think I'm gonna get like a lot of use out of this guy, and I just know somebody that I think these tones would be perfect on. She has much paler skin than I do, so I feel like this shade especially will actually show up as a crease transition on her. This is basically the same color as my skin tone, so I can use it to set down my eyeshadow, and that's about it. So I don't know, just overall, I feel like I think someone else will get some love on this palette, but it's cute if you like these shades and want something compact and travel friendly. I thought it was really pretty. I've got a few other eye products and brow products before we get into eyeshadow palettes. I finished up pretty much this NYX HD eyeshadow base. I think it maybe has a little bit more product left in it, but honestly, it's just old, and I repurchased the NARS primer. I also have Carity's eyeshadow primer on hand, so I don't really need to hold on to this any longer. I did really like this primer a lot. I thought that it was very similar to the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base. So I'm curious to see now how that one compares to the Carity primer. I think I'm gonna do like a split face wear test and see how that one goes. But I did really enjoy this one. It's a great primer for under $10. It's translucent, kind of will work with any skin tone, and just creates a nice base for your eyeshadows to adhere to. This next guy is such a hidden gem, and I'm really sad to get rid of it. It is the Vasanti Kajal Waterline Eyeliner in Intense Black. This thing is incredible. It is like the most creamy black eyeliner pencil ever. Do you just see the difference? Like, do you see how this Motives one is just not cutting it compared to the Vasanti? I've had this for a long time, and honestly, part of the reason why I'm getting rid of this is because it's probably like 3 years old or more. I don't even remember when I got this. I know I need to get rid of it. It's still so creamy though, and like it's so black. I just don't really think I should be putting things that might be 3 or 4 years old in my waterline. You know, it's like a little grimy. Plus, I cracked the packaging on this, so now the lid doesn't really stay like on solidly, so I'm afraid it's going to get dried out. But if I ever could find this again and rebuy it, I mean, this was probably the best black automatic like gel type eyeliner I think I've ever used. It's so creamy, it's so black, and it really does last in the waterline. Nobody talks about this guy. I think I got it in an Ipsy bag 1,000 years ago, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. And then it's so sad, I whipped this guy out recently to use it, and it was really dried up, so it just needs to go. This is the Makeup Revolution Brow Pomade. This guy was great though, I enjoyed it. If you want like a cheaper version of Dip Brow, go for the Makeup Revolution one. I think they're like $7, and they work just as well. I went through a phase a little while back where I liked to try out a bunch of different kinds of brow products. I've kind of settled on pencils for right now. That just is the fastest and easiest thing for me to use, but I like powders, I like pomades. I kind of like to go back to them every once in a while. This definitely will give you more of that Instagram brow type feel. But yeah, if you want a brow pomade and you want one that doesn't cost you a lot of money, check out the Makeup Revolution ones because they're pretty solid. I know you all love eyeshadow palettes, so I'm sure this is going to be the favorite part of this video for many of you guys. So let's talk about the ones that I am going to be decluttering. The first, I think, I'm just gonna say goodbye to is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Party Animal palette. I honestly have not swatched this or used it at all. This is what it looks like on the inside. I know I've heard very mixed things about this palette and very mixed things about Laura Lee as a person. And quite frankly, I don't feel the need to review this or test it out. And I have a lot of other color options in my collection. I don't wear bright shades like this very often. I have the Carity Mattes palette that's basically like a full-on rainbow. I also have the Morphe 35B palette. So I feel like if I want shades like this that are neon and colorful, I've got them in my collection elsewhere. I could easily just pass this along to somebody else before I use the shades and swatch them. And I've never been a huge fan of Laura Lee. I'm not gonna get into the whole drama surrounding her and all of that jazz. I've never purchased anything from her brand. If you like her, that's totally fine, your prerogative. I'm not going to tell you or try to convince you otherwise. I just don't feel particularly keen on supporting her on my channel, so I don't really feel the need to review this guy. I know a lot of other people out there have used it, reviewed it, and done looks with it, so there are no shortage of places for you to find inspiration or thoughts on whether or not this palette is worth buying. I just don't think it's really worth my time here on my channel. There are other things I'd rather focus on, so I'm just gonna pass this guy along to somebody else. This next guy is a cool little palette. I got this in PR from Juno Co. It is the Peach Dream eyeshadow palette. It says the brand is Prism Makeup, so I don't think this is Juno & Co.'s house brand. Essentially, this is like a dupe for the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. It has basically the exact same color story. Almost all of these shades are matte, except this one here has like a tiny bit of shimmer in it. But this is like a $10 palette, and it was nice. The shadows are a little bit on the powdery side, but they're fairly easy to work with and they show up on the eyes. So I really was not unhappy with this palette. I just know I have a lot of warm tone shades. I have a lot of peachy shadows. I have in my like Z palette that I made, essentially like my little magnetic palette, I have many of these same shades in singles. So again, I think it'd be a little selfish of me or wasteful of me to hold on to this when I know I'm probably not going to use it as much as somebody else could. So I'm gonna let somebody else try this guy out. I have pretty much the exact same thoughts / reasoning behind getting rid of this palette from Crown Brushes. We got this in BoxyCharm a couple of months ago. This is the Fuego palette, I think is what it was called. Again, very warm toned eyeshadow palette. This one has a mix of metallics and mattes in here, and they're not really very metallic. They're more of like a shimmery kind of a shade. The quality of these shadows was fine, but it wasn't anything that completely blew my mind. There isn't anything super dark in here. You have this brown to kind of deepen up the outer corner of the eye, but for the most part, you're gonna get a very like monochromatic look with this palette. I feel like you don't have a lot of creativity here. The looks that you make, regardless of what color combination you use, are gonna be very similar, which if you like this, and this is what you want your vibe to be on your eyes every day, this may be a great go-to palette for you. But if you like to switch things up and if you like to play around with color, it's a little bit boring. So I just know I have a lot of warm toned eyeshadows, and if I was gonna keep a warm toned eyeshadow palette or wanted to add a new one to my collection, I would much rather pick something else than this. Like, this is not something I think is amazing enough that I want to hold a spot in my collection for it, if you will. So I am going to pass this guy along. Then I've got some lip products. A lot of these I'm getting rid of because they are just old and it's time. For example, these Maybelline lipsticks here, I'm pretty sure are hitting the 2-year mark now at this point. And they're starting to look kind of funky. If you were to see this up close, like, they just look like they're kind of dotted and they're just sort of separating a little bit. So I think it's about time. They smell okay, but I don't know, I don't really want to chance it. This shade is really beautiful. It's the shade Rich Ruby. This is one of their mattes. I just don't wear red lipstick a ton, so I only think I use this probably like 3 or 4 times, which is a shame. And then this guy is one of their matte ones, Inti Matte Nudes shades. This is in the shade Almond Rose. Was a really, really pretty color, but again, I think this guy is just old and it's a drugstore lipstick. There's no reason for me to hold on to it for, you know, 1,000 years. I was super bummed when I opened this guy up recently and it was like very dried out. There's like barely any product on the doe foot anymore, and I've had this for a long time, so I think it's just time for it to go. This is the Jouer Lip Cream in the shade Freak. This is one of my favorite like fall and winter reds, but I want to say this must be my second or third fall or winter that this has been my collection. So yeah, time for it to go. But if you want a very opaque matte liquid lipstick that doesn't feel super drying on the lips, these Jouer lip creams are a pretty nice formula. And then this guy isn't old, I just don't think I'm gonna get much use out of the shade. This is the Color Lit liquid lipstick in the shade Goals. It's just a very beigey nude and it kind of looks like concealer on my lips. It's just not the right shade for me. It's a little too light and a little too close to my natural skin tone. So I think you need to either be very, very fair or very, very deep for this to look right on you, or you'd have to like pair it with a lip liner or something else to make it work. I don't think I'm gonna be inclined to use this, and it's a nice formula. I've only pretty much like swatched it once, so I think I can pass this along to somebody. And then the last two lip products I have here are lip treatments. Both of these I love, and it pains me to get rid of them, but again, they're old and I think it's just time. This is the Clarins Instant Light Lip Comfort Oil. Oh my god, this product is amazing. It feels like a pillowy dream on your lips. The doe foot applicator in here is absolutely gi-freaking-gantic. It's just amazing. But I am positive I have been sick multiple times while having used this product. Like, it's gotta be so contaminated. I've had it for a while. Like, I know there's still so much product left in here and I would love to keep on using it. I just kind of feel at this point I have so many other lip balms, I'd rather not chance it if this one is full of germs. Like, I think it's just time to maybe get a new one. And then this guy I think I got almost 2 years ago now, so it's just old, and you stick your fingers in here, so it's gotta be a little bit grimy at this point. This is the Best Damn Beauty Supercharged Lip Hydrator. It's basically like their lip mask. This guy smells like berries. It's so delicious. It's very, very thick and creamy and luxurious on your lips. Super, super hydrating. Has a bunch of really good ingredients in here. I really love this. I don't hear anybody really talk about this brand. Was this Nicole Guerrero's brand? I think that it was. And it's really, really great. Would definitely use it again in the future. I just have so many lip balms and lip treatments right now. Like, I do not need to buy anymore. And I still want to get the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. There's like a gift set of it. Samantha March was showing it on her channel, and like there's a part of me that wants to buy that, and I don't need it at all. But it looks so good, and it has all the limited edition shades. I just don't want it. Okay guys, we're at the very end. The last two products I am going to be decluttering are two setting sprays. These are both drugstore setting sprays. One is the Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray. The other is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray. Both of these are pretty good. I just have a lot of setting spray. I love the Urban Decay one. That's probably my favorite. I also have like one from Cover FX on hand. I have one from Ofra on hand. I have the Morphe setting spray. Like, I have more setting spray than I know what to do with. So I basically just said to myself, all right, I need to get rid of a couple of these. So I think I'm just gonna pass these guys along to friends. I haven't had them for a long time, so I think that they are perfectly fine. And maybe see if somebody else can get some love and use out of them. Because I do use setting spray with somewhat of regularity, but I don't use it every single day, so it takes me a while to go through a bottle, and like I still am trying to pan my Milani one by the end of this year, so we just had to make some decisions and let some things go. So that is gonna be it for today's declutter video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully it was fun to see the products that I'm going to be passing along, the ones that I loved and the ones that I wasn't super crazy about. As always, I do believe in donating and sharing makeup. Like, unless something is old or expired, I don't just throw things away. So a lot of these products are going to go to happy homes. I don't usually share my used makeup like with subscribers or people that I don't know personally, just because I don't want anything wonky to happen to any of you guys or be liable for that, like being 100% honest. There are a lot of women in my life, many of them who cannot afford to treat themselves to all these kinds of wonderful makeup, so I do try to give things to people that really deserve them and appreciate them. So just know that anything in this video that I am going to be getting rid of will be loved and used by somebody, and it's not going to be wasted. So just putting that out there. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video and enjoyed declutters, give this video a thumbs up. And again, subscribe to my channel if you want to see my haul video next week when I get back from Gen Beauty. Let me know if you're going to be there. I would love to try to meet up if we could. But yeah, I think that is it for today's video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.